I saw you share this video on social media and it helped me so much and just got me thinking because I think we talk about phones are bad, technology is bad. We blame them for everything, which I don't disagree with. But let's specifically talk about the dopamine deficit. What
Yeah.
is that, and how did it get your attention in the last couple of years?
Well, I'll tell you this. So in practice, when I had a patient, and usually it's easier to get adults to buy into going off social media versus a teenager. A teenager, I might get them 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
But when adults would come in with anxiety or depression, one of the interventions I've done for literally 15 years was let's take a social media break for a week. And in my mind, and I wrote about this actually in my first book, I always thought it was because, okay, we get them off comparison. We start living in our real life versus this life, idealistic life where we're constantly comparing our reality to someone's curated highlights. And I thought that's why they're feeling better because now they're no longer doing it. But it's actually far more than that. And where I first heard of the concept of dopamine deficit was in a book called Condemnation. There's a psychiatrist named Anna Lemke who wrote that book. And she talked about essentially the mechanism of addiction, what happens in your brain, in the neural pathways when you are addicted. And it's very similar to our use on social media. Years ago, when I was looking up the definition of addiction, and I was actually writing for Psychology Today during that time, I was looking at the criteria for addictions, just in general, global criteria. I will tell you, when I was looking at it, most of us fall into that category when it comes to our social media use or just phone use in general. And what happens with dopamine is most of us know it's a molecule of pleasure, of reward, but it's specifically linked to new pleasure or new information or anything that maybe we haven't seen before, or a new variation of something that we enjoy that we haven't seen before. And if you think about how the algorithm reads us and knows what we like, and then continues to flood us with more information, very similar, but a little bit different, a little tweaked, a little new to keep our attention. Now, this can even happen to you if you are off social media, but constantly looking at your phone. Like if you're constantly checking the weather or constantly checking your email or constantly checking text, those are still dopamine hits that we get. And what happens is because we are flooded, our brain is flooded with these high levels of dopamine, exogenous dopamine. It's not kind of the normal dopamine that we make in healthy levels when we do things like taking a walk outside or reading a book or connecting with someone.
Right.
These are super high levels. The body needs to compensate for those levels. So what it does to maintain what's called homeostasis, that's that steady state in the body, is if you think about it, if we're really high, it has to drop it low. Like it sounds like a hip hop song, like it has to drop it low